welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. My main man, Tyrone A. Johnson, here as always. And we've made it somehow, someway, Tyrone, to another Friday in what is arguably the greatest week of the spring and winter. And that is, of course, Sweet 16 March Madness basketball, the start of baseball. Every team has now played one game. And tonight you've got what is arguably on paper the greatest Sweet 16 matchups in a very, very long time. St. John's against Duke just after 7 o'clock. When that game is done, UConn, Michigan State. There are two other games. Let's be honest, not a lot of people care in comparison to the two games I just mentioned. But there's a breaking news right now from the NCAA. As you know, the second leading scorer in Alabama, Aden Holloway, as they get set to play Michigan, has not been playing for the Crimson Tide since the tournament began because he's the kid that got caught in his off-campus apartment with a couple, was it 100 pounds?
It was a lot. 2 pounds.
2 pounds? I want to make sure I get the story right.
2 pounds.
2 pounds of marijuana.
Without a tax ID, which is very important there for some reason.
Which is such a silly thing, right? And there was like paraphernalia and baggies and scales, and they think that a lot of cash, and he's being accused, obviously he gets his day in court, but he's being accused of possession with the intent to sell.
Yes.
So as you would think, any proper Division I or any division school of higher education would make the obvious decision: you can't represent our school on the national stage because you might be a drug dealer. Now, might's the key word there. We know he had the weed.
Yep.
We know that somebody, at least whether it's him or someone on his behalf, was clearly selling that weed because of the other stuff they found in the apartment. But the man still gets his day in court.
That's right.
So Alabama said, sorry, not sorry. We have some level of morality at the school. You could argue what level, of course, it is, but we're not going to let you play. And Holloway does not play in the first two rounds of this tournament for the University of Alabama as they get ready to play Michigan tonight in the back end of the Sweet 16 after last night's games, right? Mm-hmm. Aden Holloway, on his own, decided to go to court. Hired a lawyer, went to court, and a judge, I think this happened last night, the judge granted him the ability to travel to the Sweet 16. And if Alabama decides to play him, he now has the court's permission to travel and to play in the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, and depending on how far Alabama goes. So the question now becomes, if you're Alabama, and the court has said, we're okay with him going, and I want to be clear, the prosecutors fought it. They did not want him to be allowed to travel. I'm not sure what kind of flight risk this kid could be anyway.
Right.
But they fought it. They lost. And a judge decided if Alabama wants him to travel, he's allowed to travel and play. Now, there was some question, and I know this seems silly, were they going to make him play if Alabama's coach decides he's going to play tonight with an ankle bracelet on? Because part of the travel agreement is that he's got to wear a GPS ankle bracelet just in case he decides to fly the coop. They know exactly where he is. So put that to the side for a second. You're the head coach of Alabama basketball. Are you going to let Aden Holloway, your second best player, at least offensively, 17 points a game, play in tonight's Sweet 16?
If it's me.
Yeah.
Now, I do have...
It's a moral decision.
Right. I have certain rules. If it's any kind of domestic violence of any kind, even an allegation, the answer is no. If for me, if you did even violence towards towards someone else, violence.
No violence at all.
No violence at all here.
No.
If it was cocaine, heroin, prescription pills.
No, I don't believe there's any of that either.
I would not let him play.
Okay.
It's only marijuana.
That's what they're saying.
And if that's the case, and I'd make sure I looked at the case again just to be safe.
Okay.
But if it's just weed, for me, I'm playing him.
You're going to play him.
If it's just weed.
Yeah, so Nate Oates is the coach, and Nate Oates has, depending on who you talk to, he's the greatest guy in the world on one hand. He's a bad guy on the other hand. I have no connection to Nate Oates. I don't know the man. I've read both about him. And look, that's not unique to college basketball either.
At all.
You know, whether it's recruiting violations or looking the other way when stuff's going on. But Nate Oates is obviously a very good basketball coach, okay?
Love the style they play.
Yeah.
Love the way he coaches.
Hey, look, he resurrected, for my opinion.
He did.
The Alabama basketball program. They're now a perennial tournament team, and they've got a chance. They beat Michigan. Alabama's good enough to maybe make a run, but you got a tough decision to make.
You do.
Should Aden Holloway be allowed to play basketball tonight in the Sweet 16? And my answer is yeah, he should. And I agree with all the things you said. There are certain crimes, even if you're accused of, but not yet proven guilty of,
can't go near it,
that I can't allow you to represent my university. I don't think marijuana is one of them. And while, yes, it's wrong, and he's going to have to be punished if he's found guilty of possession with intent to sell, and I'm good with that, I also don't think that this should ruin the kid's life.
I agree.
There needs to be a punishment. Don't get me wrong.
Whatever it is.
I'm not one of these liberal pantywaist going, oh, give the kid a break. I'm not saying that. If he's found guilty, there needs to be a punishment associated with the crime that a 19, 20-year-old kid doesn't have the rest of his life ruined for. Because I view marijuana the way you view it, where I understand why you can't sell it, but it ain't cocaine, it ain't fentanyl, and it's not violent.
Right. Now, for me, if he was found guilty, I'd be more than okay with them kicking him out of the program.
Yeah.
Now, if the NCAA wants to do something, if he's found guilty,
then
it's different.
He's not playing, and I'm expelling him from school as well.
Right. I feel
can't have a drug dealer enrolled in my college.
Very comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
But he's not yet found guilty, and it's marijuana.
Yeah.
That's to me the line, and I just want to be clear about that. To me it does make a difference, and I think we all have enough common sense to know that all drugs are not the same and all crimes are not the same.
I agree.
If he stole those drugs at gunpoint from somebody, then absolutely not. There is no indication that he got this marijuana other than he bought it, and then he was going to sell it.
Dude, look, if I take everything at face value, he was going to sell the weed.
Sell the weed, right? That's it.
And by the way, and again, let me be clear.
I also can't be a hypocrite.
I can't say that it's 100%, but based on the facts that we've been presented, it's clear that either he or someone in that apartment complex was acquiring weed to sell it. I got it. I'm good. That's it.
The tough part is for me, and I'll be honest with the audience because I don't want to be one of those guys. When I was younger, did I ever buy marijuana from a dealer? The answer is yes. I had to get it from somewhere.
Where else were you going to get it?
So,
dispensaries didn't exist.
So if that's the case, if I'm going to impute and say that this kid is done, then I have to say the same thing about myself and the person I used to buy it from.
Now, here's the interesting thing. Last night, he was still listed as out. All right, and I do think that came, I'm not sure the exact timing of the judge's decision for when they have to actually let the NCAA know who's available to play, who's not, and that's really as a respectful thing. That's not unique to Alabama. That's every team has to acknowledge. But well before, I think it's 48 hours before a game, or maybe it's 24 hours, who's not going to play, who's eligible to play. So the NCAA does have a rule about that, because once you acknowledge that list of who is out, they're, in theory, not allowed to play, because it'd be quote unquote an unfair advantage if your opponent is starting to prepare without that kid playing. Now, that's a separate issue. I'm sure the NCAA is going to say if Alabama plays them, Michigan's just going to have to suck it up and deal with it. But thus far, while the court has said the kid's allowed to travel, Alabama and Nate Oates and the athletic director there have not said a word yet as to whether or not they're going to allow him to play.
And that's fair.
And that's a big deal.
That's a huge deal. He's a really good player. He shoots the three ball really well, and they're going to have to shoot the ball well to beat Michigan. So, but I think that's fair. And if they don't play him, I'm okay with that as well.
Yeah, I agree. If they play him, there's going to be an outcry from some people, obviously. If they don't play him, I think Alabama fans are going to be like, the judge said he could play. Like, he gives us a better chance to win. But I'm with you. If Nate Oates in Alabama decides, you know what, I just don't feel right playing him, I respect that. If they decide, you know what, kid's not found guilty yet, I'm going to play him. I wouldn't be bothered by that either. So we're going to find out tonight. Alabama, Michigan. Back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyron Johnson here as always. Every team other than the Yankees and Giants played yesterday, so congratulations. Opening day, still a great day. Your Phillies took care of business. Yep. Bryce Harper, you were saying, with an opposite field home run.
Oh, Bohm. Alec Bohm.
Alec Bohm had an opposite field home run, and then he sued his parents right after the game. But the Phillies beat the Rangers 5-3. Yeah. It's a crazy story, the Alec Bohm story.
Yes.
So, no joke. He is suing his mom and dad for misappropriating his money.
$3 million.
Yeah. Now, supposedly, they did have an arrangement where his parents were supposed to be investing his baseball earnings. So, for a rainy day. So that was legitimate. But now, as the story goes, I guess his lawyer, his accountant was like, there's money missing, man. And there were some legitimate investments made on his behalf. But according to what I read yesterday, his mom and dad allegedly were also siphoning off millions of his dollars, up to a full debt of $3 million, as the story is reported yesterday, for themselves.
Yeah.
And that hurts me in my soul. Like, I know nothing about Alec Bohm. I'm not sure if Philly fans like him, don't like him.
I'd say it's been an up and down situation with him.
I don't know if, I don't even know how good a player he is or isn't, or whatever the case may be.
One-time All-Star, has been a 300 hitter, doesn't have power. That's kind of.
So he's like a punch and Judy hitter, but he makes contact, gets on base kind of thing?
Yeah, probably should be better than he is.
All right. But, and as you know, you give me a chance to take a shot at Philadelphia, it's like LeBron James. I'm first in line. Can I go first? Can I go first? I'm in.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. This story hurts me to my soul. Like, it's one thing if you've got a jerk-off accountant who's taking advantage of you and all his other clients. That happens. It sucks. But look, I'm not financially illiterate. I'm not sure if you are or were when you first started making money.
Definitely wasn't.
So you trust people, that you're introduced. Hey, this is a really good accountant. This is a good financial management guy.
Yep.
I don't know what to do with the money, so I trust other people. So I totally get if you got taken advantage of, or if I've been taken advantage of because of my illiteracy when it comes to finances, and I got had by a swindler. Okay. That happens.
And he gave his parents the money, just so we're clear, when he's about 24.
Okay, so he's still a young, immature guy.
And nobody knows
making,
at 24.
Gobs and gobs of money that most 24-year-old kids don't make. I understand an accountant taking advantage of us in the position they're in. Mm-hmm. I understand, money managers like Madoff.
Yeah.
We just get a statement. Oh, looks like I made money. Yeah. But it's not liquid money. So, but I don't understand for the life of me, and I'll never understand how a mother and a father do that to their child. I don't get that part, because my gut is, and I know nothing about him, if his parents were experiencing tough times financially, my gut tells me, what son wouldn't say to their mom and dad, I got you?
I can tell you from where he's from, he's a very family-oriented guy. When he plays in Kansas City, I guess that's the closest team to where he grew up. He'll have 50, 60, 100 tickets set aside for family.
Great.
He's definitely a family
he's a good
guy.
dude.
Absolutely. Like that I can say. And I know now he has a serious girlfriend he's now been with for a couple of years.
Okay.
Apparently the impetus for looking at things closer is you start to have your family, you're planning when relationships.
Are we going to buy a house? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and what are we going to do? Because there were trade rumors if I have to move.
Yeah.
And apparently that's when it all came out. That now he's like an adult, that his money wasn't all there.
Yeah, actually, as much as I dislike Philadelphia, like with a passion, a legitimate passion.
I don't believe. I don't believe.
Yeah,
you married a Philly girl.
I know.
You have somehow you managed to have both Philly kids and New York kids.
That's right.
Like somehow.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
I know.
You could have picked anybody for this spot. I'm from Philly. You picked me. You could have picked anybody.
That's right.
So I don't know if I believe you.
Well, just because I like you doesn't mean I like the city you're from. That's a very good point.
You rattle a lot of Philly.
I decided to be with somebody from Philly every day of my life.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense. Both at work and at home, for that matter. But Alec Bohm, man, and I know they peppered him with questions after yesterday's season opening win. I actually feel bad for that dude, because it's very public now, because he had to sue them.
Right.
And now they're like the worst people on the planet. And if they're guilty of what he's accusing him of, and I assume they are, because he's not going to go out publicly or file a lawsuit if it's not true.
Right.
It just sucks like that. Like, if you can't trust your mom and your dad with your money, like, there ain't nobody you can trust.
I got to ask you this, Craig, because I'm not a parent and you are.
Yeah.
Forget the courts and the legal system for a moment.
Yeah.
Just talk about morality, and you have your 4 kids. I know how much you love them. Ethan's a father down, a producer. So
he likes his kids less than I do.
But either way, right? Forget what's legal. What should be the punishment for something like this, assuming it's true? And I forget the legal system.
The first thing, just as you're saying, so no thought. First thing that came to mind, I never allow them to meet their grandchildren.
Wow.
That's the best punishment because legal system out of it, prison, all that.
And he has a serious girlfriend. That's on the radar.
The best punishment I can do to them is you will never know your grandchildren. They will never know you.
There you go.
And I think that's a punishment that lasts a lifetime.
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head.
Right.
Meanwhile, while Alec Bohm was suing his mom and dad in Philadelphia and the Phillies were winning, the New York Mets took care of business against arguably the best pitcher in baseball. Paul Skeens didn't even get to the second inning, pulled after 37, 38 pitches and only 2 outs. But in typical New York Mets fashion, and only the Mets could have done this, they hired the guy who played George Washington in the very popular Broadway show Hamilton to sing the national anthem. He has a beautiful voice.
He does.
His name is Chris Jackson, wildly talented guy. But he was singing for the Mets. So you know what happened. Chris Jackson messed up the national anthem. He left 2 lines out, went back and repeated the second line of the song, never talked about the ramparts we watch, and 45, 50,000 people all at the same time started murmuring, did he just mess up the anthem? I think he messed up the anthem. He did. George Washington, of all people, messed up the national anthem. Then the Mets went down 2-0 in the first, and I'm saying to myself, here we go.
100 lost season.
Another Mets season. They butcher the anthem. They butcher the top of the first. But then they laid a smackdown on Paul Skeens and the rest of that Pirate pitching staff. They got helped by Cruz in center field, who is a shortstop for some reason playing center field. poorly, and the New York Mets win their home opener as well. So the Mets are 1-0, the Phillies are 1-0, the Yankees are 1-0, and a glorious baseball season has begun. Thank you to George Washington for reminding us that you can't trust the Mets for nothing. Oh, hey, we're back. All right, just enjoyed some music there during the break. Tyron Johnson here, of course. Craig Carton Show, great to have you here on the last Friday of March. So spring is right around the corner. Of course, yesterday in New York was 70 degrees. Today's going to be 30 degrees.
Okay.
You ain't anybody. You can't even complain to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Meanwhile, at that Met game yesterday, and I'm sure I'll talk about this a lot more later this afternoon on the radio, a guy had a heart attack.
Yeah.
In section 122, which is a field level section right there. And our producer, Ethan, who I'm clearly paying far too much money to, is sitting 4 rows off the field yesterday for the Mets opener.
Yeah.
So we'll have a discussion at his review. I promise you that.
Yeah, I'm going to the Phillies game tomorrow.
Yeah. Where you sitting?
I'm in the lower level, but I'm in row 32.
Yeah.
Not row 3.
What section?
I'm in.
Does it start with a 1 or a 2?
It starts with a 1.
Yeah, you're all making too much money.
139.
139.
That's where I'm at. 139.
Man,
but I'm in the 30-something.
I couldn't even go to a game. You're 139. He's 121.
Tomorrow.
Everybody's making money here but me.
Phillies Rangers tomorrow.
Yeah, well, enjoy that. I know you love your baseball. Yeah. So anyhow, a guy's having a heart attack yesterday at Citi Field, and his wife, I guess, stands up and frantically starts yelling, "I need help, I need help." I guess he collapsed a few rows behind home plate. My husband's down, heart attack, whatever she's yelling, obviously frantically. I need paramedics, I need a nurse, is there a doctor? So Ethan was telling me the story. So that section 122 is right behind home plate. Section 121 is a teeny bit to the right, but same essentially behind home plate, right? Behind the dugout, not home plate. But they're right next to each other, obviously, right? So do you think Ethan got up and ran over to help when this woman was frantically yelling, "I need help, I need help. My husband, heart attack. Doctor, nurse, somebody."
I feel like Ethan tried, but Ethan is not very tall. People don't know. shorter legs, I think a taller person beat him to it.
Yeah,
but he was right there.
Here's what happened. Ethan stood still, feet in cement, while somebody literally sitting right behind him runs over to the fallen man. And there might have been a gal in front as well who turns out to have been a nurse. So there's some discrepancy whether that happened or not. But neither here nor there. Not every hero wears a cape, Tyrone. Guy from Ethan's section runs over to the guy having a heart attack and starts compressions.
Yeah, that's serious stuff.
Saves the dude's life.
That's incredible.
Saves his life. Paramedics eventually show up.
Right.
FDNY, NYPD, EMS sets out the stadium. They got oxygen. They got a defibrillator, the whole thing. And the guy, they even bring a stretcher for the guy. He winds up kind of half walking on his own merit, half being helped out.
But still.
But he survives.
He's on his own feet.
So then the hero, not Ethan, he's not the hero in this story.
Unfortunately.
The guy sitting right behind him, who's neither a doctor nor a nurse, because Ethan asked him, man, are you a doctor or a nurse? He goes, no, neither. But he knew CPR.
Yeah.
He comes back to the section, sits down, has a beer, and watches the game.
Well, that's incredible. That's incredible. Now, I love that kind of
Nobody
stories
comes
like
over to him.
Well, I don't like that.
No one, nothing. He goes, look, I'm good.
I'm fine with him.
No fanfare.
No, great by him. In my opinion, the Mets should take care of that guy. Just because.
But I don't think they knew.
I'm saying, no, not then. Now that you've put this story out there.
Someone's got to now figure out who the guy was.
Yeah.
And obviously there's going to be video of it.
Right.
I've already had people sending me still shots of it.
Right.
I'm sure the Mets have in-house cameras. They can find it for sure. And I'm sure they can figure out what seat this hero is in.
Get him signed something. Just
season tickets.
Yeah, season tickets. Put him in a suite. Something,
Yeah. But the problem I have is we have now an example. One guy ran into action.
Yeah.
My guy stood there and watched.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I'm a TV radio producer. I don't know CPR.
I don't CPR. Why would I learn that?
I mean, might as well leave that for somebody else. And then he said, and I don't want to be a bad guy about it, but he said, I have a rule here. If you tell me something's not fair, I will never betray that.
Right.
But if you don't tell me that, then I got to say it.
Yeah.
And this is, look, I don't think he's alone in this, but he said it, so I'm going to repeat it.
Yeah.
He said, thought it might be a good time to go get another drink.
Oh, no. Oh, no. And oh, no.
What he said, he's like, everybody's focus is on the guy having the heart attack.
Everybody's looking.
It looks like he's getting help.
Go up the steps.
I can run up and get a quick beer.
Right. And
that's what he did.
Might as well, Ethan, you can tell us in our ear, did you also get the missus? You went with your wife to the game. Did you get her? Did you refresh her drink?
Yeah, they both got drinks.
Both got drinks.
Heathens.
That's no good. How about have some concern for your fellow man?
And here's the other thing. The hero then comes back. He didn't buy him a drink.
No, you good? No, you good. You got a full one. I would get it, but yours is full.
So anyway, a crazy day at Citi Field, a heart attack survivor, and there were two birds that collided in the outfield and killed each other.
One lived.
Oh, one lived?
One lived.
Oh, I thought they both died. Anyhow, baseball's back, and I'm loving it. Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson here, as always. One little NFL note for you. I think Myles Garrett's going to get traded. The Cleveland Browns just redid his deal according to Over the Cap.
Yeah.
And it's a significant change. So before the contract change, the Browns would have taken a $70 million dead cap hit if they traded Myles Garrett before June 1st. After June 1st, it could have spread that cap hit over 2 years. It would have been $21.5 million this year, and then essentially $49 million in 2027. All right. If they traded in pre-draft, though, it's still a full $70 million cap hit for this year. Mm-hmm. So why would they redo his deal? And here's the new deal. With the new language, the Cleveland Browns would take a $41 million dead cap hit if they trade him before June 1. If they wait till after June 1st, it's a $15 million cap hit this year and $25 million next year, which are manageable numbers if you're a team looking to get the best defensive player in the league. They also pushed back the signing bonus he was supposed to get 15 days after the start of the new league year, which would have been 2 days ago or yesterday, I guess, which is why they did this restructured contract. They pushed that back much closer now to the start of the NFL season in September. So to me, you're not saving money if Myles Garrett stays on the team. You still got to give him that signing bonus or whatever you want to call it.
Roster bonus,
whatever it's going to be called. If he stays on the roster, he plays for you, which tells me Myles Garrett's getting traded. That I'm fairly certain that the Cleveland Browns are now open for business for Myles Garrett. Now, all the usual suspects are going to come out. Can the Dallas Cowboys get Myles Garrett? Will the Philadelphia Eagles show an interest in Myles Garrett?
Well, I know they will.
We know they had an interest in Max Crosby.
And they had interest in Garrett before. You reported that earlier during the season.
Right. So, again, and now, Myles Garrett's worth multiple number ones. Even though he's in the back end or back half of his career, he's the best defensive player in football.
Yes.
Right? And we've seen what recent trades have garnered, this past year for top-level players.
Right.
We even saw what the heck, the New York Jets got 2 ones for Sauce Gardner.
Right.
Right? So I don't know if the Eagles have good enough number 1 picks because they've been so good to get him, but I think a combination of a player and draft picks would be something Philadelphia might consider.
AJ, with the post-June 1st designation, A.J. Brown in first makes a lot of sense for the Eagles.
Sure.
And the Browns,
salary-wise, because A.J. makes so much money, it's not a huge leap to go from A.J.'s money to Myles' money.
And the other part is they're going to try to give Shedeur a shot for a year, it appears, before moving on.
Yeah, I think so too.
But they did not have a very good or really any wide receiver core to speak of. Adding A.J. Brown there would be a huge for whoever's the quarterback.
Yeah, and he's now the number 1 wide receiver there.
Yeah.
So now you've got a legitimate number 1 top 10 target. The Eagles now have, if this deal happens, not even debatably, the best front 7 in all football.
Yeah, to have Carter and Davis to go with him,
crazy.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so now your defense becomes, one of the, if not the best defenses in football. You get rid of a wide receiver that's been a pain in your ass. It seems like they've already considered trading A.J. Brown to the Patriots because there's a lot of smoke around that post-June 1st. But if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, and I never saw what New England was offering to get A.J. Brown, the things that got reported.
It wasn't what Howie wanted.
Whatever it is, it ain't going to be Myles Garrett.
Hell no. There's another part is the Browns also just happen to suggest the rule that you should be able to trade picks 5 years in advance. They're the ones who suggested it.
Did that happen though or no?
Not yet, but if it's happening after June 1st, it will have happened.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Because I'm trying to figure out when I saw the report, and I don't know who actually reported. I saw it on Over the Cap, which is the best website to go to understand what players cost against the cap. I'm like, there's no reason to do that unless you're planning on trading him.
I agree with that.
Right? Now, the trade also, you could agree in principle, the trade won't happen until after June 1st either.
That's fine, yeah. You do the physicals, you do everything you need.
I don't see any other reason. Now, remember, Myles Garrett, requested a trade prior to getting the contract that made him the highest paid defensive player in football. And all of a sudden it went from, I never said I was coming to Cleveland and going straight to Canton. I'd like to actually win once in a while.
Right.
And he wanted a trade. He half demanded a trade. And the Browns said, instead of trading you, how about we just give you $1 gazillion?
Okay.
And he said, Yeah, that's fine. I can live with myself.
Yeah.
I know how good I am. If I never win a Super Bowl, so be it.
Look at my money.
I'm good.
Right.
Like my grandkids shouldn't have to work if they don't want to work, right? But now that you do this, and I'm trying to think of other teams that make sense. Look, the New York Jets have more draft capital than anybody.
They do.
If I'm Myles Garrett, though, part of me would be like, come on, guys. Like, yeah, you know.
How's that? Like, what are you doing for me? I'm reluctant to report. Like, I know I have to, but I'm reluctant to report.
Yeah, like, I appreciate the fact that, you're going to move me, but don't move me to another version of you.
Right.
Like, I know, and the Jets have draft picks.
They do.
They got 3 first-round picks next year, 2 this year.
They have the most capital.
They have, and they have the second most money under the cap for next year.
Right.
They got like $90 million under the cap this year. They have like $160 million, which will change obviously as they sign guys to multi-year deals. But if I'm Myles Garrett, I'm telling Cleveland, if you made this deal, and obviously I agreed to restructure my contract with you, part of that agreement's got to be you got to trade me to a team where I have a chance to win. I'm in the last contract of my career, right?
Yeah.
And Philadelphia, to me, I think is the best destination, and I think they've got the goods to get him. I think you have to obviously offer A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
I think you offer this year's first, which is in the late 20s or mid-20s, and I would even offer a second-round pick next year also.
Yeah.
You have a chance to have the most dominating defensive line, arguably, in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
And I remember, you were young, but you remember it. When you go back to Reggie White,
Jerome Brown.
Yes. All right? You are talking about
Clyde Simmons, Pitts, Golick.
Yes.
Yes.
You are talking about one of the greatest defensive lines in football history, certainly Philly history. And this line, you could make an argument, would be better.
Actually, that was one of the first defenses. At the time, they were the first one that was number one against both the run and the pass.
Yeah, that was the Andre Waters, Wes Hopkins, secondary, Seth Joyner, Byron Evans.
Right. Eric Allen now in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
like, you had a lot
keep
of
an eye
players.
on that. I'm telling you, Myles Garrett's getting traded. And I think the Eagles make the most sense for the trade. The Browns need a wide receiver.
They do.
They need as many picks as possible. The Eagles are built to win right now. So where do they pick 20 what? Do you have that?
I believe it's 23.
All right, so let's assume it's 23. You give up the 23rd overall pick to go get the best defense in football. And they would have the best defense in football. And I don't think it'd be very close.
Yeah, it is 23.
Yeah.
Here's the other
Trade
part.
just makes sense.
It also fits what Nick Sirianni wants to do. Nick Sirianni prefers to get a lead and then get conservative. Having a great defense allows you to do that.
Yeah.
Then you give the ball to Saquon Barkley. You have a new OC.
I remember.
It fits that style.
The win against the Chiefs, that Super Bowl win, as much as Jalen had a great day and they blew the Chiefs out, they won that game because of their defense.
Because of the defense.
They got to Patrick Mahomes, and that's the recipe.
Yeah, last year they had a lot of injuries along that defensive line. Wasn't healthy, wasn't as dominant. Obviously, the results weren't as good.
So see what I do you favors, Philadelphia? I'm doing your bidding for you. The Eagles should be all over that, and I think they've got the best stuff to trade. Meanwhile, one other quick football note since we're on football. Interesting to me that, and it's kind of beneath him to do it, but he's doing it anyway. The reports out of New York are that Odell Beckham Jr. has been quietly begging Jackson Dart and some other cats on the Giants that he has a relationship with to get Joe Shane and John Harbaugh to pick up the phone and call him. That he desperately wants back into the NFL. I get that part of it for sure. And has built a relationship apparently with Jackson Dart.
Okay.
And they've done some appearances together, this and that. And obviously we saw OBJ at the flag football thing a couple weeks ago. But he's apparently been begging them, tell him I want to play for the Giants. I'll be your third wide receiver gladly. So he's now putting on the hard press to become a Giant again. It's a little beneath him, I think.
I don't love that. And also, I think, being that he wants to be in this area, I think he actually could also help the Jets. I don't think he should just be stuck on just the Giants.
Yeah, he ain't going to the Jets. I'm with you,
but he
ain't going to the Jets.
But he can help the Jets as a third wide receiver. He can help them.
He could be the Jets' number 2 wide receiver, to be honest.
He can help them.
Amici's our number 2, and he's got Butterfingers. But, yeah, so keep an eye on OBJ to the Giants. Keep an eye on Myles Garrett to the Eagles. It's in play right now. Trust me on that. back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyron Johnson here as well. A new Fox News poll found that 72% of sports fans think that major sport events should be required to stay on free broadcast television, not behind streaming paywalls. And 6 out of 10 sports fans say in this Fox News poll that they've skipped watching a game at least a few times in the past year because of the platform that the game was on. In a response to that Fox News poll, the NFL has just announced that starting next year, there's a good chance that all preseason games will appear behind a paywall on a variety of streaming services. And I'm not making that up.
Yeah.
So Fox News does a poll saying American sports fans are like, hey, enough's enough. Like, you told us to cut the cord. We cut the cord. Now we're spending more money to get all of our sports. And the NFL says, good. Spend more money because your preseason football, that's going to be behind a paywall also.
Listen, one thing we have to understand.
NFL.
The
NFL's like the mob.
They don't care about you. And that's the thing about the NFL. Like, I'm the same as all of you. I watch every game. I'm not saying I'm better, but what I'm saying is I recognize it. They hate me. They hate you too. The NFL does not care about any of us, and they never have, and they never will.
I agree.
Period. Just gotta understand.
It's just so funny to me. The same day that this Fox News poll comes out, that 6 out of 10, so 60% of active sports fans have said, yes, I have blown off watching a game because I don't have the service it's on, or I don't want to pay for the service, okay? 72% say, hey, man, I just want my sports for free, right? I can't afford to go to the games. I can't afford 17 different apps.
Yeah.
So the NFL says, good. We're putting more football behind a paywall.
Yeah.
You're right. The NFL hates people.
They do. Hey, Porzy, you know why you can't get? Because you're poor, and we don't care about you. And that's really how they are. And it starts with the players, because truthfully, they don't care about them either much. They use them for what they can use them.
This is just 32 billionaires who act like Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake, and they're being led by a guy who's dying to be a billionaire, who also, Roger Goodell, has no compassion, respect, or sensitivity to the hardworking men and women that is the backbone that the NFL was built on. Oh, say, can you see?
You gonna mess up more.
You notice how I stopped.
Yeah, I would have went God Bless America. But anyway, you slice it.
And I took my hat off.
You did.
Because I know if this goes out,
That's right.
I know the first thing, you disgraziato, singing the anthem with your hat on.
I think I have an Italian accent. But either way you slice it, this is the fundamental problem. And look at our start of the season. None of us asked for it to start on a Wednesday.
Correct.
It's starting on a Wednesday.
Right.
None of us asked for Australia on a Thursday, going to Australia. Now, Friday, all of a sudden, a day where we would all be cool with football.
Right.
No football that day.
That's right.
And then we wait till Sunday. Why?
Not just that. We were also content for the last 50 years of having basketball only on Christmas.
Yes, we were great with it.
And now they took Christmas.
Right, we were great. And we watch it. Again, we watch it. I'm not saying I'm any better. But come on. And I have to believe that eventually, Craig, eventually, there'll be some sort of backlash, but no time soon.
We keep watching. We're sheep.
But it happened with baseball. Baseball was number one for a long time. Longer than the NFL has been number one. And eventually it caught up to them.
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, at some point, and the answer's not today, obviously.
No, absolutely not.
Is there too much football throughout the week? And obviously the answer is no, because we eat it up like sheep. And I do, you do, we all do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if there's a game on Tuesday, I'm watching it. Wednesday, I watch it. Thursday, I watch it. Friday, I watch it. Saturday, I watch it.
I changed my Christmas. I left from one place to another based around the football.
Yeah, it's just the hubris of the NFL that on the same day, obviously they don't know the polls coming out. The report comes out that, we're tired of streaming services, and they're like, we're giving you more streaming services for preseason games. Now, it'd be nice if they're going to start monetizing preseason games through the streams if they allow us to not buy those preseason tickets.
There you go.
Because if you ever had season tickets, you are forced to buy the preseason games at the same price.
Yep.
So they are the greediest sons of bitches I've ever dealt with or had a relationship with in my entire life.
Yeah.
Not that baseball owners aren't and NBA owners aren't, but NFL owners, that's like a special kind of what was the Donald Duck?
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
He's diving in the goal, so you think it would hurt.
They are Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
He's swimming in it. He swallowed the gold coins and then spit them out of his mouth. That's Roger Goodell.
I tried a new edible last night, and my mouth is all dry today.
Okay.
Yeah. Lesson to be learned.
Was it hybrid indica sativa?
It was a hybrid.
Hybrid.
It was a hybrid. It's a new company I never heard of before, but I got it from a legitimate dispensary.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to smoke because, my throat sucks as it is. So I tried a new one, and I'm a little pasty today.
No good.
So, yeah.
No good.
Like, I'm not high.
Was it too late?
And I slept like a baby.
So was it a little late in the day when you took the edible?
I took it a little too late, yeah. And I stayed up late because I was watching college basketball.
Game starts at what, 9:45?
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's too late.
Yeah, and I only watched the first half. Oh, by the way, speaking of Sweet 16 yesterday.
Yeah.
Look, there was a great game yesterday, but I do have to point out, do you ever see the movie Hoosiers?
Yes. Don't love it, but yes.
In one of those games that the Hoosiers kids are playing where Gene Hackman only puts 4 kids on the court?
Yes.
Because he's teaching one of the kids a lesson, and the ref comes over and he goes, "Coach, you only got 4." And he's like, "Yeah, that's right. Blow the whistle. Let's go." He was teaching his kids a lesson.
Yeah.
That happened last night.
Wait.
Did you see that?
I must have missed.
Yeah, Nebraska-Purdue. Right?
Yeah, that was a very good game.
Great
game.
Down
to the wire.
So look at right there. So this is this play seals the game for Purdue, right?
Oh, yeah, but I didn't think it was on purpose.
Well, it may not have been on purpose.
I don't think it was on purpose.
But how do you play defense in a close one possession game, and you only have 4 dudes on the court?
You can't.
Now, supposedly the refs are not supposed to allow that.
Right. If
the refs see that, believe it or not, they're supposed to blow a whistle and say, "Coach, need one more."
Right.
Much like you can't have 6 guys on the court. If you play with 6, it's a technical foul. But you're not supposed to be able to play with 4 either. And because they only have 4 dudes on defense, they get a breakaway layup and a foul, and had one there, and that effectively ended the game. So, unfortunately, that coach has a lot to answer for today. And it was a great game last night. Tonight, of course, you have the doubleheader that is must-see TV. St. John's 6.5-point underdogs against Duke. And then if UConn, I think UConn is a 1.5 favorite against Michigan State.
Great game.
So from 7 o'clock till whenever tonight, if you get up off that couch for anything other than a refill of your drink, you are missing out on what could be 2 classic college basketball March Madness games, and I'm all about it tonight. We'll give you a thought on those games coming up right after this.
Why the regular season, Joe, does mean something, because Detroit is going to get a back-end team in the East to begin.
Yes, and it does. And it's just a very strange situation, unfortunate situation for Cade Cunningham in Detroit. But the good news is, if you keep playing teams like the Washington Wizards, well, you're not going to need Cade Cunningham to win those games like they did last night.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You give me Tiger Woods playing real golf, and you got my eyeballs on your TV screen.
No matter what.
No matter what. I don't care what channel it's on. I don't care the network. I don't care where the course is, as long as it's outside. And if Tiger Woods is playing golf, you have my unadulterated loyalty. I'm watching every minute of that golf coverage because I know he's the only guy I'm going to see.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
First listed here at 44%. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, and Bryson DeChambeau combined tie at 32%. And Yannick Sinner down there at 30%. So where do we do? How about that? Who will win more?
Yeah.
Joe? Combined effort. Combined effort.
Yeah. Combined effort. I don't know.
I like it.
Scheffler going to have to get it going here.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, this is kind of where Kalshi got on the radar, I think. They started with the Super Bowl last year, right, where they started taking a little bit of betting on the Super Bowl, but March Madness is where it took off. And over the course of the entire men's and women's tournaments last year, they took about $500 billion in trades. This year, first weekend, Thursday through Sunday, they're already past $1 billion traded.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
back to the Craig Carton Show, Tyrone A. Johnson. I'm not sure if you ever did the Kalshi or Poly Market stuff, but if you haven't, today might be an interesting day for you to try it, Tyrone. Mm-hmm. So President Trump yesterday announced to the world without anybody asking him, because he sometimes likes to do that, that Tiger Woods is going to be at the Masters, but he's not going to play in the Masters.
Okay.
Now, of course, Tiger Woods is dating his son's ex-wife, right?
Yes.
I think that's the relationship, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. Right. And obviously, I think Tiger Woods has played golf with President Trump and his niece, Kai Trump, who's out of Miami.
Yes.
I think they've played around at some of the Trump courses, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you that if you go to those predictive markets right now, and I know FanDuel's got their own, Fanatics has their own, they all have now, I bet you can trade whether or not Tiger Woods plays in the Masters right now.
Yeah, you probably can. Yeah. Now, I've stayed away from that just because of disciplines reasons.
Yeah, well, you should. By the way, everybody should stay away from it. It's still gambling.
But this one might be worth, depending on what the odds are. You throw $10 on it.
I'm saying, like, the president just come out and said, just so everybody knows, he's going because they all go to the Champions Dinner, which is only for former champs. You know, Rory McIlroy this year has to fund and pick the menu out for the dinner. That's that old fuzzy zealot we talked about. But there was a thought because he showed up for that TGL indoor golf garbage
that he would play.
That he's going to play in the Masters.
Yeah.
So, but President Trump said he's going, but he ain't playing.
Yeah.
So you might want to just take a look at that. That's all I'm saying.
Also, if people want to hear Craig ripping the indoor during the best stuff tomorrow morning that comes out this week on the Craig Carton Show, you'll hear that whole segment.
Oh, is that tomorrow?
Oh, that's tomorrow morning. You'll hear that whole segment on this week.
About time they started promoting what we're doing around here. By the way, I think SportsGrid should just play us on a loop. No disrespect to the other shows here, but there's one show that's killing it.
This is available podcast exclusive.
Got it. Podcast exclusive.
You can hear
my take on the TGL.
Yes. yes. I would bet. So that means, to me, the money is betting that he is going to play. Because I think most people are going to bet that he's not after the president spoke.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think there's probably a lot of money at first saying he's going to play because he played in the TGL. And while he's not walking the course, obviously, he looked great.
He did.
And he looked jacked, right?
He goes to the weight room.
But now the President Trump said, look, he ain't playing. I think the money's going to go the other way.
And that's where I try to capitalize.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I just wanted to give that to you. I'll cover the quick things before we get out of here. 34 years ago today, I went into a neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio, with my best friend from college, Chris Beldotti, and we sat down in a theater with not a single open seat, and we watched
34 years
ago,
a
sports movie in which somebody wants to go to Sizzler.
Wants to go to Sizzler?
Yeah.
1994?
Somebody wants to go to Sizzler. Do you have it?
I don't have it.
Ethan, do you have it? We go to Sizzler. We go to Sizzler. What if I said to you, Billy Hoyle? I think
White Man Can't Jump. with the one guy who can actually play, and the other guy, Wesley, can't play a lick.
And it was the white guy
who can hoop. No, he can hoop.
He actually plays basketball.
Yeah, Wesley can't play at all.
Wesley Snipes is the worst actor to ever play the role of an athlete.
Yep.
Like Major League, that famously, in the sprinting scene when he gets out of bed late, they film that in slow motion because apparently,
can't run.
Well, he looks, and he does karate. He's like in great shape, obviously.
Yeah.
He can't run.
Can't run. Omar Epps can run from part 2, but not him. Yeah, he can't run at all.
Yeah, so 34 years ago today.
White men can't jump.
White men can't jump.
Wow. Yeah, 92. Yeah. It was the first time I saw Rosie Perez.
Oh, is that right?
Well, she was in other movies before, but I hadn't seen them yet.
Billy.
Yes.
She was so annoying in that movie.
I went back to watch the movies with Spike Lee and things she was in. My parents wouldn't let me watch it when I was little.
So you got that 34 years ago today. And a lot of people are saying, see what happens when everybody gets to pay players and not just the Blue Bloods. For the first time since 1954, there's a Sweet 16 without Kansas, Kentucky, UCLA, and North Carolina.
Wow.
First time in essentially 80 years that we have a Sweet 16 without those 4 teams in it. Because again, when they were the only people with the ability to pay dudes, they won a lot of games.
Yep.
And Syracuse is one of those teams also. I got to own that. We had street agents in New York, in Chicago, in other quote-unquote inner cities.
That was well done.
Grabbing kids with paper bags of cash. We did it too.
Yeah.
And thank God we did.
Yes.
Because 1986, 7, 8, 9, 90, 91 would not have happened without those paper bags of cash. And by the way, we didn't win a single championship during that era.
Nope.
But man, did we have some damn good basketball teams.
Billy Owens.
Roddy
Cycling.
Yeah, Billy Owens might be the greatest college basketball player I ever saw.
He could do everything. He could do everything. Dribble.
And unfortunately, it started going up his nose.
Yeah.
And he ruined what could have been a great NBA career as well. Anyhow, enjoy the basketball. Enjoy all your baseball. Have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday at 11 live. Thank you to SportsGrid and Red Seat. Have a great weekend.